in your Instagram, on your Twitter, and see what all the other fans have done, what they're doing.
We've been talking about throughout this High Point weekend, the track was once laid out by a group of European riders, and that's when the European bikes and riders dominated the sport. But a little renaissance here. KTM and now Husqvarna really making inroads toward the top of the sport. And KTM actually does have a hand in this revamping in the Husqvarna effort. It's a new program with a little bit of the old Husqvarna feel. Let's learn more about this revamped team.
So under the new leadership and new ownership with the Husqvarna brand, the brand is really going back to its roots as a pioneer of motocross and understanding the tradition, the Swedish roots of the brand, and the dominance in racing in those early years, and bringing the brand back to a real premium level, which is where Husqvarna was always in people's minds in the past, and now we're trying to come back to that level, and we're well on our way. This year we felt it was really important to show our support to the Lucas Oil Pro Motocross Series by being a sponsor and to back up our team support and our team involvement. So when you go to the races now and you see the excitement, the tremendous passion surrounding the brand, and top riders like Jason Anderson, that's really in his rookie season but has already been on the box and showing tremendous strength. It's very exciting, and you can see people both who have a long history with the brand and people who are first learning about the Husqvarna brand very excited to see the super competitive performance of the Rockstar Energy Husqvarna factory race team.
Mark Blackwell himself used to race for factory Husqvarna back in the 70s. And this Husqvarna rider, Christophe Pourcel, the old tricks for him. Last lap of the last practice session becomes the fastest qualifier, the Bud Light Fast Qualifier Award. We had all but handed the award to Ken Roczen. And then again, after time had expired, Pourcel was out there doing one more lap, and he ends up topping Roczen and everyone else by half a second. So we'll see if Pourcel could be a factor for the podium battle today. 450s coming up after this.
Honda's Frederick Noren has come a long way to chase his American motocross dream with a call up to the factory team 2 weeks ago. See how the rider from Sweden is making it happen in our motosport.com rider profile.
Back at High Point, the 450 class riders have just completed their sight lap, so they'll be racing in a moment. See about 8 minutes before this moto begins. Ryan Sipes there, parked on the jump. Cole Seeley, 14 in the 54, surveying the scene. Here's Freddie Noren. Great story last year when he got the call as a replacement rider. Wow! For the factory Honda team as a longtime privateer. He got the call again this year to fill in for the injured Trey Kennard, but Freddie's goal long-term is to earn his way full-time onto a factory team on his own merits.
I think it's really unfortunate that Trey got injured and that he's out from racing, and I'm really bummed for that. But I'm very happy I'm the guy that got the spot and to fill in on his ride. Trey's really a guy that I really look up to, and just overall an awesome guy, and it's super cool that I get to race his bike and the bike that it's been winning races and getting up there. It's a cool opportunity. The differences between the factory bike and the old team is, it's not a super big difference, but I mean, a factory bike is best parts you can find, the best engineers like mechanics and testing guys in the world, so everything's just more precise, and it's just really good. Obviously, I'm expecting to get some good results in and just keep learning and building a good relationship with the team. Hopefully just do well enough where in the future I can get a permanent ride with a factory team and yeah, just keep getting better. This opportunity to be with Honda, kind of looking to learn as much as I can, get some good results in, and hopefully just keep building a good relationship with them, and we'll kind of see where it will lead us.
Freddie actually fighting a little bit of a knee injury as of late, trying to get inside that top 10, about 6 minutes before we drop the gate, and we'll show you what it looks like with the Kawasaki track map.
Well, that all-important hole shot that everyone wants to get up this hill. Once that gate drops, keep your weight forward. Easy to wheelie off this gate. Also easy to run wide through the sweeping turn. Hopefully you get that motorsport.com hole shot. hard braking zone right, then left over the famous tunnel jump. Through these rollers, try and find the best rhythm through there. Off the Lucas Oil drop-off, make a right. New part of the track, they swing left now into this triple step up. We saw the 250 riders earlier battling to get over it clean. 450s, maybe not as hard for them. And this part of the track actually gets a little bit tighter than it appears. They've changed this section. They will not be able to double that as they've lowered it. Then from here, you got this sweeping turn into the, as we now call it, the Buddha, because it is a Buddha. It's a big quad all the way over this whole section. Sweep downhill to the left, over the fly racing jump. Another right, left. Then you start climbing back up the hill. You jump, and basically the guys land on the brakes to make this sharp turn back down the hill through the gearbox. Scrub these jumps. Once again, back on the brakes, 180 left. Start going back down the hill again, drop off, get your weight back, get on the gas, back up the hill, climbing up towards this left-hand sweeper before the finish line jump. Once you go over this, you'll go down Bradshaw Boulevard, past the Fram Mechanics area. Once again, swing left, drop off down the hill, swing right, back up the hill, triple stepper. Guys leaning into this one, sharp right, hook a left back on the start straight. That's a lap of Mount Morris.
All right, less than 5 minutes to go. Ken Roczen got his first moto win of the year last week at Muddy Creek. Now he wants to get that first overall win, and we had the GoPro on him for our GoPro track preview from practice earlier today.
Yeah, the track doesn't look quite as smooth as this. This is that triple step up behind the start straight. Then you see Roczen runs a little wide there, has a look over his shoulder. This is actually off camber, so it forces the bike to keep pushing you wide. See him basically trying not to run off the edge of the track. Then you come back down the hill, see Blake Baggett coming by. Little kick into that turn, getting that rut. Oh, yeah, you hear the roost. Then this section here, we've seen some of the guys doubling over it, or singling, doubling, and like I said, there's probably about 3-4 different variations. Figure out which way is the best way to get through there.
That's a much scarier downhill than it looks as you go to that drop-off. Riders have completed, as we said, their sight lap. Time to go racing. But Christophe Pourcel, faster than practice. We'll see what he can do in this first moto. Pacific on MAV TV. Got Ryan Sipes here on the line. He's our FMF Privateer Power Award winner last week, 10th overall. And he is really not a full-time motocross rider anymore. Raced for 10 years with us here. But his full-time job is this, Grand National Cross Country Series. And after he got that 10th overall with us at Muddy Creek last week, he went to race GNCC in Ohio. Here he is on the 264, finished second in that one, 2 weeks in a row actually in that series he's gotten second. And as if he wasn't tired enough from racing a motocross on a Saturday and a 3-hour woods race here on a Sunday, he's back with us racing again here at High Point this Saturday afternoon. Now let's send it to Georgia on the GoPro starting gate with more. I'm Ryan Sipes.
Not only does he go from a Grand National Cross Country riding at 350, but he jumps on a completely different bike. He's currently riding a 450, so he says everything has changed. He was so worn out last time after he raced this National and the GNCC. This is his last National, but honestly, there's clouds rolling in. It could be like a GNCC right now.
Yeah, he's gotten his share of mud races in the last season and a half racing off-road, so that might help. Now, he's a privateer here, doing the motocross thing really for fun. Does have help from Factory Husqvarna when he's riding in the woods. So we'll see how Sipes does. Fly 30-second card is up. Here's our keys to the moto, Grant.
About changing conditions, the ruts are getting deep, which is also be smooth through the ruts. That's the key to this track. Long, deep ruts. And is Ken Roczen back? He got a moto win last week. Let's see.
Pourcel leads him into the first turn, way wide though, through it, and Justin Barcia is going to beat Pourcel and the rest to that motorsport.com hole shot. He's got his teammate Weston Pike right with him, but look at Pourcel! What has gotten into this guy today? Fastest in qualifying, great start, trying to wrestle the lead away from Barcia, and I think he's got it.
Wow, you see how Barcia charged in that second turn. He barely made the corner, but Pourcel, like you said, he must have had a big bowl of cornflakes or something this morning, because whatever it was, yeah, he overjumps that jump, runs a little wide. Did he get the lead back? Let's see how this plays out. Inside, outside, complete opposite lines. You heard Muskin talking about those ruts.
Pourcel trying to triple. I have not seen this level of aggression from him in a long time. Even when he's won races, we don't normally see that type of hard riding. And Barsha able to wrestle it back from him.
Well, we know Barsha's never going to give up. They call him Bam Bam, and that's kind of reminiscent of his riding style. He wrestles that lead back from Porcel, but Porcel definitely feeling bouncy today. Got a little prep in his step, fastest in qualifying, and to me looks like he wants to lead this race again.
Got Pike in third, putting some heat on. Oh! Big face full of roost for Barsha as Porcel tries to get him. And Porcel finally secures the lead. It took 3/4 of a lap to make it happen.
Well, and Barsha's not giving up either. Maybe Barsha took a page out of his junior Yamaha teammates from the first race. Will he sweep around the outside? That line's been working, but Porcel, the crafty Frenchman, takes that line away. He knows where the fast line is. One lap down, Christophe Porcel, welcome to the 450 Pro Motocross ranks. We were wondering when we were going to see the old crafty Frenchman come to play. But
Pike's coming to play. Pike on the 23 right there, and Roxon's up to 4th, and Barsha gets Porcel back. Great race between these three, but here come your championship contenders. Roxon now right in the thick of it also. And much like this 250 class, Eli Tomac was dominating early. Roxon and Dungey have won the races since. The rest of these guys are sick of those front runners gobbling all the moto wins. These three up front are aggressive.
Right behind them, you see behind Roxon, his teammate Brock Tickle, who separates him and championship leader of Ryan Dungey. So you know Tickle's not going to make it any easy on Ryan Dungey to try and get around. A good start for Tickle. That's been one of the things that has almost held him back most of the season. Let's see what he can do with a good start. Roxon unable to triple up that hill. Didn't lose much ground there.
I can't remember the last time we saw a good start from Tickle, so we'll see how this works as Roxon is all over the back of Pike, and his teammate Tickle, like you said, right behind him. The Soaring Eagle Jimmy John Suzuki's, and then the Red Bull KTM of Dungey is right there. So you're watching Pike, but Blue Bike is third, and Dungey did get Tickle, you're right.
Snuck up the inside. We saw him coming to the picture, got to the inside, got the pass done. So Dungey not wasting much time. Sometimes we said, oh, we see Phil Nicoletti in the pits. He went down in that first turn. He actually, from what I saw, him and Roxon collided. Roxon lucky not to go down. Nicoletti got sideways, got hit by another rider. Probably some bent parts on that Yamaha.
He doesn't look to be in too bad a shape. Talking to his mechanic there on the left, Spencer Bloomer. It's a tough break for Nicoletti. Look at this battle. Dungey is trying to get Roxon. Whoa! And he might have it.
Did you see that line? The long way around, and Dungey just launches. He doubled down that hill. I have not seen anyone do that all day. Let's keep an eye on that, because that is a huge weapon for Ryan Dungey if he can do that consistently.
Who is this Ryan Dungey? We did not normally see this from Dungey early in the motos. Out jumping guys and just blowing by people early. He's the kind of wears you down. But look at this. He's got Pike also. Dungey has passed 3 riders in what, 4 turns?
Cutting through the field like a hot knife through butter.
Yeah. So he's all over Porcel, who was also uncharacteristically aggressive early in this one. Settled into second on that 377 Rockstar Husky.
I think with Dungey, we always call him the diesel because he's slow to warm up and get going. But I think he just put a turbocharger on that diesel engine because he came out. Wow, what an opening lap from Ryan Dungey. I mean, we didn't even see him now. He's literally a couple bike lengths off leading this race.
Yeah.
Very impressed with Dungey's line selection and his intensity early in the race. Like you said, we're not quite used to Ryan Dungey being like this on those opening laps.
So it's Roxon behind Dungey. Dungey trying to get Porcel now. Oh man, I haven't seen these guys battle. 6 years ago that they had an epic duel for the 250 championship.
Came down to the very end.
And Dungey, of course, has gone on to great things, many race wins and titles. Porcel has had stops and starts of his career. Look at Roxon trying to come back.
Yeah, Roxon, he wants this. He knows how crucial it is when you're 37 points down and you believe you can beat this guy. You got to get by. You got to get back in his head. But look at that, Dungey. He's really found some good lines so far early in this race.
Porcel down the inside where there wasn't a line, able to get next to Dungey.
Going over that big hump. I'm not quite sure if that's part of the track, but we'll have to wait and see. But I see Dungey doing that. That is big. But you know what? Roxon's going to see that, so Roxon can learn from that. Because if he doesn't do that, I don't think he's got a chance of coming back on Dungey.
Tickle and Pike battling just behind this. This is for third. Roczen has got Porcel.
We just said the outside was the line to take, but the key is to stay out of those big holes that upset the suspension. Because guess what? When your rear wheel's in the air, these bikes are rear wheel driven, of course. So when it's in the air, you can't get the power to the ground.
And through all this, Justin Barcia just circulating, leading some laps on the Autotrader.com Toyota Yamaha. And Joe Gibbs, by the way, is here today, watching his charge lead the field around. Good job by Porcel. We thought Roczen had made the pass, but he got him back at the end of Bradshaw Boulevard. So Porcel's still in third. And Dungey closing up just a little bit on Barcia as they drop downhill. Porcel, by the way, told me, second race of the year at Hangtown, he said it's going to take about 5 races before I can be a top 5 guy. Here we are, round 5, and this is a much different Porcel than we have seen through the first 4 rounds. But he sure has his hands full with Roczen, who's going to try it again on the outside. And Barcia's got his hands full with Dungey. Great racing.
Really good racing early here in this first moto. You see Weston Pike, he is still in 6th place, I believe. He must have a transponder issue that's showing him dropping down. These things happen from time to time, but on the racetrack, he is sitting behind Brock Tickle in, is that 6th or 7th? Well, actually, I think Anderson just got around him.
Yeah, they're battling, Anderson and Pike behind Tickle. Roczen trying to figure out a way to get around Porcel.
He needs to do it quick as well, because guess what Dungey's doing? He is checking out. You know he's going to be putting that heat on Barcia.
That inside line of Porcel, you can see how dry that dirt is. No one has touched it all day long. It's like a dust cloud comes up when he gets there.
Watch this, watch this.
Here's the double. And a huge drive now down the hill for Dungey.
Side by side. Dungey's going to go to the outside. What can Barcia do? Can he protect this? Squares it up, gets a drive. Beautiful. Brian Dungey, the most impressive 8 minutes I think I've seen in a long time. This guy's obviously always impressive, but look at Barcia, he's not giving up, down to the inside.
A little bit too rough down there for Barcia to keep the momentum up, and Dungey is going to seal him off and take the lead. His track, great variety of lines. Every time you think you figured out this is where you should go, someone invents something else. That double downhill, I don't remember anyone doing that in past years or anything that Dungey is using. He's figured something out. That's how he got Roczen. That's how he's gotten Barcia for the lead.
He never even did in practice. We didn't get to see every single lap, but even on his fast lap, I never saw one guy doing that. He's taking the outside. He's being smart. Stay out of those deep ruts. The outside around the corner is not faster, but doubling down that hill, especially when he gets over that little ledge afterwards, which almost makes it like a triple. If he lands that clean, he's going into the base of the bottom of the hill with about 5 to 10 mile an hour more speed, and we've seen how that turns out.
Now Porcel's finally able to get this triple-double combo working in the center of the track, and using that to fend off Roczen. Roczen on the outside here, going to try to use the momentum. And I keep going back to that story we had in the 250s where we saw riders like Cincerillo trying to get in there. They wanted to get in the mix with Jeremy Martin and Marvin Musquin. We got a similar scenario here. Dungey and Roczen, the favorites coming in. But right now, Barcia and Porcel are showing, at least early, they're able to be in this mix with them.
Well, Dungey's also not running away with it right now. We just saw that little wide-angle shot there. These front four are pretty close. I am curious to see if we're going to see, oh wow, see that jump over the braking bump. I wonder how many of these guys are going to pick up on that double. Let's see if Porcel does it. He does.
Yeah.
And Roczen does not. Ken Roczen's got to figure that out.
So Porcel giving Roczen all he can handle in a battle for third, and Barcia trying to keep Dungey in check. Quick shake-up here at the UPMC High Point National. Justin Barcia here on the 51 Yamaha was second, and about a second to go, just dumped it in a corner. Easy tip-over crash, not hurt or anything like that, but it did cost him a couple of positions. I think this will push him back to 5th. So Dungey still leads, Porcel second, Roczen third, Tickle fourth, and now it's Barcia.
we didn't exactly see the crash from Barsha. We just saw him on the ground. But if I was to take a guess, I think when they land at the top, that triple step up, you got to get on the brakes so hard. And what happens is you have a tendency to get on the brakes and start leaning in towards that right-hander. And you probably find you just tuck that front end a little bit. But he's back up. Obviously, like you said, not a big crash. Just more than anything, lost a bunch of time. But these guys are now figuring out that... Oh, see those ruts, how they just throw those bikes around.
And we do have a replay of the Barsha crash.
Let's see if he just washes that front end under braking. Watch right when they land. Watch. Oh, he cases a little too much. See how it upset the suspension. So when he rebounded, there was no traction on those. But it almost gave Roxon the opportunity there on Porcel.
Yeah.
Because Porcel had to hang a left going into the right-hander. And Roxon almost able to capitalize.
So a couple of battles out here. Anderson, by the way, also slipped by Barsha. So Barsha's actually 6th, Anderson 5th. And Anderson's teammate on the Rockstar Husky, Christoph Porcel. Where was this guy the first couple of rounds? Was kind of a top 10 guy. Not anything really flashy. Completely reinvented today, running 2nd and holding off Roxon. Georgia, what have you heard of the 377?
Well, we did talk about at Lakewood, Colorado 2 rounds ago that he was heading back to Florida and he was able to be at home riding in the conditions he enjoys being in and kind of back in his own lifestyle. So maybe being back in Florida has given him, you know, a chance to ride how he wants, when he wants. He's got his normal routine around him, and also it's got the humidity in Florida. He's able to ride in conditions just like these.
Well, I saw Christoph in staging for practice today, and he wasn't really in a chatty mood. He was darn focused, just staring at the racetrack. I said, man, not a good weekend last weekend. He had some problems with some crashes, and a lot better today. Scored that Bud Light fast qualifying time, and now, right in the thick of it. I mean, Roxon has been there and close, but he's not exactly holding Kenny up.
No. Kenny's been trying to get around him for a while. He's trying, but Porcel is riding pretty great. Got some interesting lines and technique. Let's see, Roxon's going, all right, let me go to the outside. This is where it gets a little risky sometimes when you start jumping stuff that you've never done. But as a top racer, you have to just adapt and learn. And Roxon's now figured out, hey, I've got to be doing that jump because I've seen Dungey get away and I've seen Porcel doing it. You see Brent. Fuzzy!
Okay. All right.
Brent, a fellow South African and quite the character, as we all know him to be.
Yep.
Very motivational guy on the side, very emotional and very vocal, but always trying to pump his riders up.
All right, good to see him working with Porcel now. Brent Byron.
Might be a good combination because you're just saying Porcel's so quiet, so mellow, so just, you know, sometimes you think he's just in a bad mood or someone ran over his dog 5 minutes ago. And then you got Brent, who's just over the top. So maybe it's just a good balance between them. And we've always said Christoph Porcel is an interesting character. He's very a unique kind of a person. And maybe that's what he needed, to go home, be comfortable. He calls Florida home now. And it's whatever he's done, it's showing in his riding because we haven't seen this at all. I mean, he is just on fire for himself today, holding behind a national champion and world champion of Ken Roxon.
Yeah, he's a world champion in his own right.
What time is it, Jason?
Hey, we're 15 minutes into the Moto, 15 minutes before the 2-lap card comes out, and in 15 minutes you can save 15% or more on your insurance. And if you're Ken Roxon, you're hoping 15 minutes from now you can get around the 377. I don't think he has a chance of getting Dungey, who's 10 seconds ahead. Technically 9.2 if you want to be exact. But Roxon, 2nd place, not going to be easy. The rejuvenated Christoph Porcel today, giving him everything he can handle. This inside line that Porcel is using, will it work? Not this time.
Well, they're side by side, but watch Porcel. He usually jumps over this braking bump, but Kenny Roxon prevents that from happening.
Yep.
He now jumps over the braking bump, goes to the outside. Ken Roxon really adapting to the changes. Up to 2nd. Let's see what he can do with a clear track. 10 seconds is quite a lot of time to catch up, especially when you're talking about Ryan Dungey in the lead. A little further down the order, Jason Anderson.
He's got around, he's got around Tickle. So Anderson continues his recent run of strong riding on the podium. 3rd place last week in Muddy Creek, and up to 4th now. How about the Husky effort, 3rd and 4th?
Just about to say, we just saw that little promo about the resurgence of the famous brand of Husqvarna, and now they've got guys proven, hey, these bikes are awesome right now. And these guys are let's give these guys credit. They're making them look good as well. But Anderson having a good ride, but really impressed with Porcel, hanging right in there and still on a podium position.
Tickle comes through next. So 2 Jimmy John's RCH Soaring Eagle Suzuki's between Roxon and Tickle in the top 5, and 2 of those Rockstar Huskies in the top 5, and the lone Red Bull KTM out front. So we wanted to see what Tickle could do with a good start. And this 5th right now, pretty solid. Tickle the kind of guy, usually gets stronger late in the races. And with all the racing we've had, all the battling, it seems like we'd almost be done with this moto. Still 13 minutes to go. And look at Barsha.
He's getting his rhythm back.
Yep.
Picking up the pace.
So Barsha might put some pressure on Tickle for 5th. Here's your motorsport.com whole shot replay.
Watch, you see Roxon gets boxed in a little bit. Porcel gets there first. In the background, you see Roxon collides with Nicoletti, who goes down and then gets sideswiped. But up front, Barsha just grabs a handful, takes that line away, and leaves the braking extremely late. But that's what we're talking about. That first turn has a tendency to make the riders push wide, because as you're getting on the throttle, you keep wanting to run wide. So it's a real tough balance of trying to hug that inside, but also get on the throttle.
So Barsha trying to go from 6th to 5th. He was 2nd at one point before a crash. Then Cole Seeley comes by here on the Honda HRC machine in 7th. Kind of a lonely run for him. A lot of battles in front of him, a lot of battles behind, but he's not able to get into either, at least at the moment. And then next in the order should be Blake Baggett. He's on the Yoshimura Suzuki. They're all figuring out that double now. Doubling down.
And I wonder too if they were thinking about it this morning, and because it was muddy, it just wasn't doable at that point, because now it kind of seems almost clockwork for all these top guys.
Baggett comes through next, and Freddie Doran, who we talked about earlier, fill-in rider for Trey Kennard with the factory Honda HRC team. He had tore his meniscus, I think in April, testing for motocross. Came back pretty quickly, but the last 2 weeks he has twisted it each time in practice. I think he was okay today, so now we're seeing Noren back inside the top 10 with his 9th. And Weston Pike, probably not too happy about this. Remember, he was 3rd early. He has been shuffled back to 10th place, ahead of Justin Brayton, who's 11th, Han Cunningham, Sipes, and Kyle Chisholm rounding out the top 15 here at High Point. So we're watching Noren and Baggett. It's a battle for 8th and 9th. Dungey in the lead. Roxon now solid in 2nd. Here live on MAV TV, Lucas Oil Pro Motocross Championship. You can also always check out our live stream at promotocross.com or on the NBC Sports Live Extra app. Be sure to download that. So your opportunity to watch the races, even if you're on the go. If you're really smart, you can probably watch us while you're at the racetrack. So you can get both the live experience and the live coverage experience. Either way, you would know for sure that Ryan Dungey is the man right now in Lucas Oil Pro Motocross. Not a great start in this moto, but what moves he pulled to get into the lead, and he's pulled away since then. The 51 Justin Barsha has just passed Brock Tickle to get into the number 5 spot. Barsha whole shot this moto, led it for a bit. Dungey got him, he was solid in 2nd, and then he went down. Nice job to recover and make some positions back up.
One of the hardest things about just having a tip over a fall, you lose your rhythm for a little bit. It sometimes takes a guys a lap or two just to get back into the groove. And he really has just got right back into the groove. Barsha running, as you can tell, good lap times, competitive, a little bit off the front couple, but still running solidly good lap times. But I gotta say, Dungey just putting on a clinic, just constantly every lap, quicker than everybody out in the track. We've seen Dungey win before like this, but the way he did it in those opening laps, not very characteristic of the Dunge. You know, he's usually a more patient, methodical guy, but he is just looking good. How about Ryan Sipes? Another solid ride for him, sitting in 14th position. This coming from basically, yes, he used to race motocross, but he's theoretically a woods rider.
Yeah.
And he's done a lot of riding in the last couple of weeks. He's done more riding in the last 2 weeks than I have in the last 2 years. So this guy obviously in fantastic shape, because motocross is grueling and those GNCC races, very, very grueling. Those tracks through the woods, because it's single track, they just get brutal. You get beat up.
Yeah, they're on their alternate lines.
I did one for fun once, and I thought, fun? I felt like I was just getting abused out there.
Yeah, so Sipes raced with us last week at Muddy Creek. Raced a cross-country race the very next day in Ohio. Big shout-out to his sponsor here, Air Group, who helped fly him from Tennessee to Ohio so we could make it to the start of that race. And, of course, he's backed by the Rockstar Husky folks on the off-road side. Sipes, by the way, made his pro debut here, I think 11 years ago at this track. He was raised a motocrosser and a good one. At that rate, won a couple of supercrosses in the 250 class and a bunch of podiums here outdoors in his career. But after 10 years racing moto, decided to switch to the off-road side, wanted to be able to live back in the East Coast because he's from Kentucky. Hold on to it, Ryan. Yikes, we're saying a lot of good about this guy. Don't make the story go bad now. He's back underway and back in control. But yeah, he said he didn't want to have to spend 6 months of his life in California anymore. I did that for 10 years. He's a family man now, got kids, a wife. So he's back in Kentucky.
Yeah,
but
he's
these
a
East
country
Coast
boy.
races, he
He's
is
a through and through country boy.
That's 14th. We'll see who else we can find here. Kyle Chisholm, 15th, another privateer. Getting some good backdoor support, though, from Kawasaki. Nice to see them helping the Chiz out. So he is 15th. And Jesse Wentland, yet another fast rider out of Minnesota. There's a lot of them these days. The Martin brothers and Ryan Dungey, for example. Jesse Wentland, no slouch himself, on the Rick Schugel Racing Honda. That is 16th. Gannon Audette coming through next. And guess where Gannon Audette's from? Minnesota. That's 17th. And we'll wait on him. Should be on the number 73 Kawasaki. Audette actually gets some help from our Legends and Heroes group. There he is. Legends and Heroes, it's a traveling museum that comes to all the races. They'll honor a top ex-professional every weekend. Guy Cooper getting the honors this week, former 125 national champ. And they help Audette. They'll truck his bike around with them sometimes to help cut the travel cost for the privateer. So 2 Minnesota riders. I guarantee you Wentland and Audette have probably battled 1,000 times in their lives. And here they are in a national. 16th and 17th battling again. And Tony Archer should be next at 18th. Matt Lemoyne 19th. Brock Schmelian rounds out the top 20. Those are the points paying positions. Only the top half of the field get points. That's the tough part about motocross. You got to make it happen all the way to the end.
Well, it's tough getting in. These are the 40 best riders in the world. And then it's only half of them will actually score points. And for some of these guys, they've all got their own story afterwards about crashes, tangling, bumping, issues, something coming loose, something getting bent.
There's Archer in 18th, and you just see the green fenders of Lemoyne back there in 18th and 19th. And Schmelian, as we mentioned, who's on a Yamaha, probably rounding out the top 20 if he can hang in. There's the Traders Racing team for Archer. Everybody's got that double downhill figured out now. Good job, Tony.
Yeah. Probably the top 20 at least.
Yep. There's Schmelian back there in the Yamaha. You see him. Lemoyne, who's in 19th, right behind Archer. He's got a team that is run by his dad. Whoa! Don't throw it away there, Matt.
I told you, this track can bite you at any second. That suspension is working overtime on all these bikes. Look at that, just bouncing around everywhere. These riders really, probably almost more mentally draining than physically draining at times, because you have to concentrate so hard when the bike's dancing around. And let's give a little shout out to Kyle Cunningham, our top privateer at the moment in 12th place. Travels with his dad. Good job.
And Schmelian on the very distinctive blue Buffalo Yamaha. But look out, Jason Brooks takes the spot away.
That's
you
for the final point.
Yeah, you think those guys know that or what? They are going for this final point. Top 20 pay points, 21st through 40th does not. Jason Brooks.
And it shows you how important it is. You know, you might say, oh, it's 20th place. For these guys, it is just a dream. I remember being that kid dreaming of scoring my first championship point. So for these guys, it's like a win for them, you know. So love to see this battling all the way down. Got to admire what these guys put into racing.
And what it really means is the 3-digit privateers, you score enough points, you earn that 2-digit number. That's how you know you've really made it. Hey, there's the Legends and Heroes Museum we were talking about before. A really cool thing to check out between the races here at High Point. Get fired up for new episodes of Full Custom Garage. It's going to be a wild ride, and Ian won't stop until it's full custom. Full Custom Garage, Friday, 7 Eastern and Pacific, right here on MAV TV. Late rally from Christoph Porcel in third. Ken Roczen got the pass made, and we thought at that point Roczen was going to set sail, but look, you can occasionally see the white Husqvarna here.
Occasionally, it's getting
it's
close.
Pretty much
he's
everywhere
pretty much
now.
there.
Yeah.
He's just far enough away that he's not getting roosted out of every corner.
So at one point, Roczen had about 3 seconds on Porcel. Now it's down to about 1.5 seconds. And we'll send it to Georgia. Weather and track have changed a ton today. Where are we at now?
Well, it's been so up and down. We were kind of expecting rain, and then we weren't. But the track conditions, the track has dried out a lot now, which means that those ruts are going to kind of get harder, tougher, and aren't going to be able to move around a lot more. But also the humidity is pretty high right now. It's not as hot as it has been in previous years. It's a lot hotter, though, than previous races we've had so far. I mean, just standing here, you're sweating with the humidity. So these guys are obviously hydrating all this previous week, and then between motos, I'm sure they're going to take precautions to keep cool.
76% humidity, jeez. And Porcel has brought his teammate Anderson with him. Well, he did. I saw Anderson right behind him about 2 or 3 corners ago. Now they've extended out just a little bit. They all have.
And they're all catching Dungey. I think he's, toned it back a little bit. I'm sure he's going to manage it from the front, but we could see this bunching up here right by the end of the race, because Roczen was about 12 seconds behind a few laps ago. He can't back it down because Porcel's putting the pressure on, and he's bringing Anderson with him. So there's this, yo-yo effect with these guys starting to close back up, and that's bringing them up back to the leader. It's down to 8 seconds with Dungey, but with 2 laps to go when they cross the finish line right about now.
Yeah, there's that 2 laps to go sign. So they're not going to catch Dungey unless Dungey hands it to them with a mistake. But Porcel is going to push with everything he's got, and so is Anderson. Feet off the pegs. He does not care.
You can see this track.
Man.
Second moto is going to be really, really tough, both physically and mentally on all these riders. A good start and minimum mistakes is what it's going to take to come out and win the second moto.
Anderson finding his stride. He got that podium at the opening round at Hangtown, and it wasn't as strong at the next race at Glen Helen. Had some problems, crashed into Roczen actually in the first lap, had to go in the mechanics area, and a lot of people said, he started the year off in Supercross on fire with a podium, wasn't able to maintain it. He is actually, if anything, better now than he was at Hangtown. Podium last week, beat Roczen in a moto straight up in Muddy Creek, and here he is with a fast start in this moto, up to 4th. And if Porcel or Roczen have some trouble, he's close enough to take advantage.
Yeah, he's one big mistake away from one of these guys from being right there.
So big credit to Bobby Hewitt and everyone over there that runs that Rockstar Husqvarna team. They were a privateer effort at one point, riding Suzuki's. Then last year they got a shot with KTM. Now they are running the show for Husqvarna as a factory team in the U.S. And how about it? You put 2 riders on the top 4 in a 450 National. You're doing something right. Anderson here on the 21. Porcel on 377 just ahead. Well, Porcel told me that round 5 is where he thought he'd really find his stride. It's probably the only rider I'd actually believe when I hear that. He's the only guy that's different enough to actually say it and mean it.
And what round are we at right now?
This is it. It's exactly what he said. Anyone else, I'd be like, that doesn't make any sense. Why the 5th round? But with him,
it's mental. A lot of it is mental. He knows where he's at. He knows it's a track that he likes. And when he decides he wants to go fast, Christoph Porcel can be the fastest rider in the world on any given day.
Well, we saw it in qualifying today. He was the fastest, and you could tell as soon as the gate dropped in this moto, he was aggressive to a level he had not been this year. He takes a little look over. He knows that Anderson's coming. Now, what I did hear from the team in the early testing is that the bikes are set up pretty different between Anderson and Porcel, different riding styles, and the team thinks that they're going to be able to work with Porcel maybe more effectively than other teams had because they're able to change the bike to whatever he wants he can have. They don't say this is the setup, run it. Here's Ryan Dungey up front on the last lap. Jump in the tunnel one more time, making the fans happy. Gotta have the true appreciation for Ryan Dungey, and I think part of his career, unfortunately, a little bit overshadowed. A lot of the wins he has had maybe haven't been the most spectacular way of going about it, but at this point, third in combined all-time motocross wins in the sport in the U.S. It's almost impossible these fans not to start appreciating, man, this guy's been here every year. Yeah. He shows up every weekend. He works hard. He's a professional. And I think the fans are really starting to realize, you know, you got to show this guy some respect. He's really one of the all-time best when you start looking at the record book.
Oh, he really is. And the way he's going, he's closing in on James Stewart on that all-time motocross win list, which would put him second only to the greatest of all time, Ricky Carmichael. There's the graphic. Look at that. Ryan Dungey ahead of Bob Hanna. I mean, we're talking legendary status people right here.
Right.
And I think because Dungey's always been not the most flashy or never just annihilated the field, he's just always been very methodical. Like you said, very consistent. You can rely on him on probably being at every single race. If you sign him for your race team, he'll probably ride 24 of 24 motos, finish 24 of 24 motos, and you can count maybe 1 or 2 bad days where he's not on the podium, but he is a podium regular.
2008, he ran all 12
career. I mean,
yeah,
his whole
absolutely.
Career.
2008, all the way through now, he has not missed a race outdoors. He wins the first moto here at High Point. That's not an overall win, though. He could get 41 if he does it again in the second moto. Roczen has finished second, and Porcel, best finish for him ever on a 450 in the U.S., finishing up in third. For Anderson, fourth. This Husky guy's charging all the way to the end.
That was a clinical performance by Dungey.
First laps were downright spectacular. The moves he had to make to get the lead, and once he had it, well, he knows what to do with it. No errors, and by the way, a couple more points to his lead over Roczen. We'll talk to him after this. Ryan Dungey has arrived at the podium here at High Point Raceway. He's won the first 450 moto. Just watched it live on MAV TV. Here's your Lucas Oil race recap in case you missed it. You will not see Dungey up front early. Didn't get a good start here. Christophe Porcel thought he had it, went wide in turn 1. He gets edged out by Justin Barcia. See Dungey back there about maybe 7th. Barcia in the lead, but look at Dungey go to work here in the number 5, Grant.
Oh, his opening few laps were something special. He just carved through the pack, made it look quite easy. Up the inside here, gets Porcel, doubles through that turn. Look at that. He was just on rails, gets to the front quickly, round, squares up Barcia here, finds some smooth ground, gets the drive, and that was all she wrote.
Impressive. Roczen would eventually climb to second, and Porcel would hang on for third. Barcia had a little tip over, ended up in 5th. Let's send it to Georgia with Ryan Dungey.
Yes, Ryan Dungey, congratulations on that first moto win. Now, Grant Langston actually said that's the best 9 minutes of the beginning of a race that he's ever seen you ride. You really pushed it. You were focused. You had a great start. What was going on? Did you just have a fire in you?
Well, I just trying to make passes. You know, it's what we work on sprint laps, and got off to a good start. Came around about right behind Porcel, but then I had to go wide and shut off, and the guys came under me. So I had a little work cut out for me making some passes, but once we were able to do that, found some good lines, you know, kind of search for some good lines, try to put down some good laps, and just run it into the finish.
What do you think about the track changes they made to High Point this year?
I like them. You know, they're a little bit different, but for sure better. You know, they really did a good job, and the weather's been holding up really good for us. The track's awesome as well. Team Red Bull KTM 450 is holding up good too, so thanks everybody.
Huge congratulations, first moto win. See you in the second one. Thanks, Ryan.
Dungey wins that one by 4 seconds over Roczen, who is pushed to the end by Porcel and Anderson. So a rally here for the Husqvarna boys, both in the top 5. Barcia recovers for 5th. Tickle over Seeley, 6th, 7th. Noren, Brayton, Hahn round out the top 10. Nice job, Will Hahn, getting inside the top 10. Coming back from injury on the monster Kawasaki. Pike pushed back to 11th. He had the good start. Sipes making up ground late. He'll finish up in 13th. Brooks and Schmelian both get those points in the top 20. Let's send it to Georgia.
Yes, Ken Roczen, congratulations, second place in that moto. It was a slow start for you, but then towards the end you were matching lap times with Ryan Dungey. Do you think you should have got a better start in that first moto?
Yeah, I got off to an all right start, but I bumped with someone at the very top and lost quite a few positions. So I was right behind Christophe for a really long time, and he cut the track on some areas, so I wasn't really too pumped about that. But I think if I could have gotten by a little bit earlier, it would have been better. But anyway, second place, all right. We'll try to come back and win that second one again.
It's a lot hotter than the previous races we've had. There's a lot more humidity. How are you feeling with the heat? Are you fully, prepared for this?
It's good. I've been in Florida the last couple of weeks, so that helps out a lot. So, the sun is poking out every once in a while, but clouds are there, so it's not too bad.
Congratulations, well done. Ken Roczen, second place.
Here's your upcoming TV schedule here in Lucas Oil Pro Motocross. We'll have our second motos in just a few minutes on NBCSN, so be sure to flip channels, keep watching us, and then we're going to Budds Creek next weekend. Of course, our first motos live on MAV TV, and our second motos will be on NBCSN next weekend as well. So Ken Roczen finishes second in that one. Now we've got our third place finisher with Georgia.
Christophe Porcel, hello, it's good to see you here. You were fastest in qualifying, you had that whole shot, you were battling the entire moto. What changes have you made recently that have got you up to pace?
First of all, our Rockstar Energy Husqvarna factory team is just amazing for me, and I'm still getting used to the new bike, but it's amazing what they do for me, and today it feels good. We changed the set frame and all kind of stuff on the bike, so I'm still trying to get comfortable and walking a lot during the week, so my pace is getting better, and I'm thankful to be here, and fighting with Kenny the Moto feels good, and hope to get a good start second moto and try to do the same.
Well, you actually went back home to Florida recently, so you're back with your mechanic, Brett Myron, and kind of being at home. Does that help a lot to be able to be back in a good schedule?
Yeah, it feels amazing to be in Florida. Roczen is in Florida also, and we all ride together, so it feels, it's so humid, so it's so hot, and we sweat all day, so it feels good, but it's not easy to when you get a good start and then try to get that pace, because those guys ride so fast, and it's been a while for me, so still trying to get used to it, but I think it's time for me to be fighting with those guys. It feels good.
Congratulations on that first moto. Hey Jason, I think you were right, and I also feel like I need to move to Florida to be able to just watch these races.
Maybe, yeah. It's been an all-Florida podium except for her. So Georgia, it will be a move in the future. We're going to Budds Creek next weekend. That's outside of Washington, D.C. Weekend off, Red Bud in Michigan, right on the Michigan-Indiana line. That's the rest of our schedule. We'll go to Minnesota, Washington, upstate New York, Utah, and Indiana to round it out. All right, so we were wondering if anyone could get in the mix with the Martin and Marvin show or the Dungey and Roczen show. I think we saw it since Cirillo was in it. The Husky boys here in the 450s. Pretty interesting racing.
I thought that was great racing. I really enjoyed it, calling the race with you, Jason. I'm excited for these second motors. The track is going to be tougher and gnarlier. The heat and humidity, you can see these guys sweating.
Yep.
Let's wait and see how it all unfolds.
All right, World Rally from Argentina is next here on MAV TV, or you can switch to NBCSN and watch our second motos. Marvin Musquin already getting ready for his from High Point. So for Georgia Lindsay and Grant Langston, I'm Jason Wygant. High Point, as always, offering up unpredictable conditions and racing, although the winners, no surprise, the KTM boys, Marvin Musquin and Ryan Dungey. They're going to try to do it again and seal off the overall wins, as we're just about wrapping it from the first motos and ready for Moto 2 from High Point. We'll see you at NBCSN in a few minutes.